But when you go in with pharmaceutical companies or when you go in with alternates, you are not going to be able to make that change. It's not possible. It just does not happen like that. You don't happen to solve a problem by going through the system that you created the problem with. When you have a problem, you first of all change the system, and then you solve it from behind. Because the shaman knows that all of these systems, all these societies, all these belief systems are relative. They're not real. They're questionable. They're real within their own bounds. But you can shift somebody out. Somebody comes here, for instance, and says, the doctor just told me that I'm going to die in 3 months. There's no way I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to die in 3 months. So I came here to see if there was any possibility. I said, well, let's take some tests in the hospital and see what we got. We take a blood test. We take some x-rays. We say, okay, you've got a problem. But I think we can rectify it within about 90 days. You don't have to die. You can live for another 30 years. But you're going to have to change your habits. You're going to have to change your eating habits. You're going to have to change your dietary habits. You're going to change your exercise habits. You're going to have to change your company. You're going to have to find new friends. You're going to have to find new lovers. You're going to have to find new people to hang out with you. You're not going to be able to continue in the same path that you were in, because that's what created the problem. Maybe you want to die. If you want to die, stick with what you got. If you're willing to change, do it now. Because then, later, it's going to be too late. So, if you want me to help you, I will. Because I know what I'm doing, and I know all the esoteric, and all the physical, and all the scientific, and all of the herbal medicine knowledge that I need to help you. But the one thing is, you're going to have to do it with me. You're not going to be able to bail. If you start out, you got to go through all the way to the end. And that's it. So, it's a question of yes or no. Do you want to live, or do you want to fucking die? It's up to you. So, you go back or you don't. You either go back to who you are, or you continue betraying yourself. That's the question. Now, we're confronted with a lot of dilemmas here in the modern world. Enormous. Because we got all the authorities coming down on us, telling us, no, you have to be correct. You have to be, you got to protect yourself against terrorism. You got to protect yourself against diseases. You got to protect yourself against viruses. You need the vaccine. You need that. You need this and this. And these people are authorities, so they're coming at you really strong. Sometimes they're even making it obligatory. You want to walk, you've got to do this. So you've got to play their game to a certain extent. They have their time and their place. They have their position in our society. However, they don't have their position on top of your head. You have got to think for yourself. You got to decide for yourself on a regular and constant basis. Now, that's why the shamans were the first religion. They were the people who started exploring reality on a occult level. In other words, they went under the surface and over the surface. They realized that in the normal state of mind that we're in, we can't solve much. We're limited to one paradigm. And if we're going to solve things, we're going to have to go into other paradigms. We're going to have to be able to mesh them. We're going to have to be able to pull them. Now, through my years of study with shamanism, what I did is I had to burn a conduit into my neurological system, into my brain, to give me the ability to go up and go down and come back solid and sane, and to be able to apply the knowledge. It takes a transformation. But before that, until I was 34 years old, I was very much contained within one system. I was a scientist. I studied psychology, I studied anthropology. I loved it. It was beautiful. It was my passion. But I realized that I was studying stuff that talked about problems, but it was not talking about solutions. And if I was going to really present myself as a healer and charge people $150 an hour to come and talk to me, I was going to have to treat them with a solution. I couldn't live with myself just talking about the problem. And that was when I got introduced to ayahuasca, and I realized, here it is. This is a solution. You go right into the DNA, you reprogram it, you get stuff away, and sure enough, you've got a transformed system. You got a transformed person. You haven't just analyzed the problem, you have put the solution on it. And it came from inside. You didn't have to think about it. The conscious mind is a very beautiful, beautiful instrument. And believe me, I use it on a daily basis because the linguistic necessity of using the conscious mind and of analyzing things, being a businessman and being an administrator is very important. And so you never want to ostracize that or treat it like it's not useful. But when you're going into shamanic work, you've got to talk it into taking a back seat. Because when you do shamanic work, you're at an intuition level. You got to go smooth, clear, and you got to leave the conscious mind behind. You cannot concentrate on your conscious mind or what you're thinking. Because what you're thinking is not useful. It's only what you're seeing and what you're feeling. And you have to obviously have a gift for being able to do that. For like when I make adjustments on you and so on. I know what to say, when to say, and how to say it. And so that's a very intuitional thing. And we do it in a very concrete 3-hour package. And it comes into you, and then it has its impact. And so you guys are experiencing this, and you realize that there's going to be more and more need for this, as there always has been. And why is that? Because the normal conduits that we have been trusting are basically breaking down. And they're breaking down because they were running without any ballast in the beginning. And now they're breaking down because they haven't got any muscle. They haven't got any digestion. They haven't got any power. They keep pushing. But eventually they collapse. And then people say, what happened? So what do they do then? Well, they said, we better go back to the origins. And where do they come? Down here to learn about shamanism, to be healed by people who are straightforward, no nonsense, and they got no axes to grind on a person's head. They don't want them around. Is all they want to do is they want to heal them, and they want to send them out complete to do whatever they're destined to do here on the planet. And so that's where shamanism comes in. Besides that, the shamanism gives you a brand new life that's multidimensional. It gives you an exciting life. It's much better than going to the movies. It's much better than going out and meeting another girlfriend or another boyfriend. It's much better. You go into shamanism, you go into altered states, and you can access states of mind and states of spirit that you never even imagined. And you can imagine and you can learn things that are existing around you and that you've just been completely oblivious to. Why? Well, because you were trained to work within one particular paradigm. One paradigm that's good for paying the bills, for being acceptable, for finding the right girl, and for buying the right house, and buying the right car, and put yourself into a fucking boring hell for the rest of your life. So, what do? We break out, and we go somewhere else. We usually takes us a while before we decide to do that. But now we're putting it into a much more audacious, decent formula that's accessible to more people. That's accessible to a group of people that have never been available for this. They've always thought about it. They wanted it. They liked it. They liked the idea. But they thought it was run by a bunch of witches and warlocks, and it was dangerous. So they never came in. So what are we as Refugi Altiplano? We're here trying to make this accessible to a much larger audience of people who desperately need it at this point in their career, at this point in their life. Give them healing. Give them real expert, professional, and efficient healing to solve their problems, set them on track, and send them back into their world to be prophets and to be focuses of light to guide other people in the same direction. That's what we're doing here at Refugi Altiplano. That's why we have the houses that are so nice, that are so comfortable, the chateaus and so on and so forth, so that people can come in and be comfortable. They don't have to live like a peasant to be here. They can live in a very comfortable way. And some people stay for 20, 30, 40 days. They just get deeper and deeper and deeper into the understanding and the healing. So what we're doing is we're doing integrated medicine here with an accent on the shamanism. Because we know that that's where the key is. We call ayahuasca the mother of all medicines because it opens the doors for us to receive the other medicines. Not only mentally, not only intellectually, but also intuitively in our neurological system. You put ayahuasca in your system and then you drink mint tea. Okay, the mint tea has much more power over you after you took the ayahuasca because they work together. You just took away the psychosomatic blocks and the mint tea goes in and affects you much more strongly. So that's the way we use it, and we use it meticulously like that in that formula. And we know exactly how it works and what formula and how it goes. And so when we work for results. We don't work for anything else. That's shamanism. That's shamanism par excellence. That's shamanism, shamanistic healing, as we do it here at Refugiato Plano.